Developing your emotional intelligence can help you succeed at any stage of your life or career. It can also help you become a better leader, mentor, and coach. In this education section conducted by EIY and our guest speaker, Mr. Cyril Jamelot, defines exactly what emotional intelligence is and how it can help you manage your emotions and build stronger relationships. After a career in international marketing and consumer research for a major brands like Coca-Cola, Cyril Jamelot founded Cecydi, a communication and training agency. In French, it means heaven on earth. He is now a marketing consultant, a keynote speaker, a coach, an author of the book I Love Marketing. He supports brands and those who shape them to help capture attention and engage through content to regain meaning and motivation, to finally generate an optimal customer experience by communicating with emotional intelligence. Hello, Mr. Cyril Jamelot. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you.
Yeah. So let's get into our business. What is emotional intelligence, Mr. Cyril Jamelot?
Emotional intelligence is a new term. There are many new terms in marketing, but if you translate them, they've always been on Earth. This is a lot of people talk about communication skills. Communication is something which is very basic. You have 4 pillars in communication. Impact, so are you seducing enough? Do you create sufficient impact to be noticed? Then you have the relevancy of your message, the content of your message. And finally, the 2 pillars, which are consistency, are you consistent in the message you bring? And the credibility, what makes you credible? So that's communication, and that's something which is very important because everybody needs to communicate. The issue is that no one can use that only. Emotional intelligence is the part of emotions that make you stronger in those pillars. So the emotional intelligence plays on emotions, of course, like it says. And this is something where you will start perceiving, understanding, and managing the emotions of your audience, your teams, your colleagues, even your partner. So it's a way of saying that communication are technical skills, but emotional intelligence is what helps you nourish those technical skills with emotional skills, so the content you're delivering is actually in line with the expectation of the audience.
Can you please help us understand more about 4 pillars that you just mentioned?
Yes.
Yeah.
The way you perceive emotions is a question of respect. This is a question of empathy. In market research, there is a term which is called active listening. The active listening is something that is the rule of the 4 questions. If you ask somebody, you come home and you tell your partner, or your partner tells you, "Oh, I had a horrible day." The first thing that we all do is to say, "Oh, me too." And that's it. The communication stops there. Whatever you will say or your partner will say is not relevant. However, if you say, "Oh, you had a horrible day, what made it horrible?" Then the person starts feeling that he or she is being listened to and will say, "Oh, it was horrible because my boss told me that I was too lazy," for example. And at that time, you ask a third question that is related to the late answer. So you will say, "Oh, lazy, how's that?" And the person will start explaining, "Well, he said or she said that I was lazy because, I don't know, I was walking too slowly in the corridors." And if you say, "What makes you walk slowly?" After 4 questions, the body and the mind, the brain says to yourself, "Wow, this person is actually listening to me." And therefore, you will start talking about the things that are very deep. and not only talk about the superficial elements. And the problem is, if you're not listening to people correctly, if you're not using that emotional intelligence technique of empathy and active listening, you are just grabbing the surface. And what stays on the surface of everything you say is not really usable within a company, within a communication. So that's the first aspect that is very important. The second one is what you do with it, is the reasoning. Is telling yourself, okay, now that I understand why that person is walking too slowly in the corridors, then I can build my communication, my answers, everything I will do based on that, is how I will use that. So that can be used in your communication as a company, that can be used within a conflict, that can be used in anything, because conflicts within a one-to-one relationship, it's an argument. But if you're a brand and you're communicating to your audience or to your targets, the conflict will not be felt. You have no way to answer. The conflict will be with your audience thinking, oh, I hate this brand. They're not talking to me. But if you think about that aspect of conflict, there is no conflict if you're listening. The conflict starts when you make judgments, when you answer. I like blue. Oh, I hate blue. Why do you say that? Because, and then there is a conflict. And if you say, well, oh, what makes you like blue? Why would there be a conflict if you're listening to people? And emotional intelligence also is based on self-awareness. And the self-awareness is understanding yourself, but also understanding the others. I've recently heard a video from somebody from the CIA, an ex-agent from the CIA, and she said that in a conflict, everybody is right. And once you understand that from anybody's point of view, everybody's right, because everybody's fighting for their own benefits. So if somebody says, well, I like winter, and the other says, no, I think summer is best, who's wrong? Who's right? And once you understand that within your communication, you realize that listening and understanding are key to make sure that you are not losing the person you're talking to.
Cyril, I'm just wondering that in case that at that time you are very angry and frustrated, how can you manage your emotion in order to be a great listener? Because you said that conflicts are created just because we don't listen to each other. And the reason why we don't listen to each other because we are not able to manage our own emotions and our judgment. So at that time, what should we do?
Yes. Many of the rules on earth are great and work when everything goes well. If you're in a good mood, you had a nice night's sleep, and you're happy in your life, then most of the time there is no conflict. And the reason it happens that way is because we are improvising. And if we are improvising, then in a stress moment, we lose any control we have. I will give you a very concrete example on your question. Is the plane pilots. They are not trained to think. Because if you train a plane pilot to think, then he or she can think perfectly well when everything goes well. But if your plane is in trouble, then you cannot think right. So what we teach them is rules and habits. And if something happens at 3,000 feet and it's the left reactor, then you click on that and that button, and they do it so many times that it becomes a habit. So when it happens, they're not thinking, they're just doing it. And it's the same in a real life. The rules of emotional intelligence is to prepare yourself and to give yourself habits. Somebody comes to me angry, I do not speak. I think the terms emotional intelligence is a very nice term to describe what in the English language has been used for thousands of years, and it's called bite your tongue. And if you do so and you bite your tongue and you listen, you wait for the person to discharge. Do you know the transactional analysis?
Yep.
So you have the parents, the adult, and the child. And if you look at a teacher, he comes in a classroom and everybody's speaking. And what he says, he talks as a parent. Please stop, be quiet. It doesn't work. And he's going to yell louder and louder, and it's not going to happen because he's improvising. He's letting his emotions speak, and it's emotions against emotions. So what the transactional analysis says is adapt to your audience. If they talk, let them talk. Listen to what they're saying. And if they see the teacher listening, it's called the Kraut-Hammer theory. You come with silence, with a smile, you wait, and all of a sudden people will stop talking. So it's the same thing within a conflict, is use rules. Always listen before you speak. Why are you that upset? Because you do this all the time, because I hate you, because you've done this and this. Or within a company, your teams can say, yes, well, we are not raised enough, our salary is not good, we have no motivation, we have no objectives. Listen to them before you get upset. And impose that rule to you, whether you are tired or not. And another point is from the Toltec agreement is never, ever take something personal.
I see.
If you don't take things personal, unless you are being physically aggressed, it's something different. But if somebody speaks to you, their words, and their words are just the expression of what they feel within their own rights. So listen to that.
Mr. Cyril, at this time, I have a question here. So you said that the first step to resolve conflicts is to listen to that person. So I agree that we better listen because it helps that person release their own emotions and we understand them more. Because now talking about us, the one who also have emotion, the negative emotion as well. So the more we repress our emotion, the more we can explode. So in that case, how can we resolve the problems with our own emotion, not that person emotion?
You're fully right. Not talking or only listening can make you become a bomb because you're like keeping everything. I think I've discovered the power of speaking with emotion in Vietnam, actually, because in our Latin culture, we use no. And no creates even more conflicts because it's not solution oriented. So if somebody says, well, I want to go there on Monday, and I say no, because Monday I'm not there or it's closed, then I create a conflict. So whether I do not speak and I listen and I feel I can't express myself, but what I've discovered in Vietnam is that you don't use that no, but you give solutions instead. So instead of saying, no, we'll never go there on Monday, you say, look, Tuesday or Wednesday are better for me. And you speak, you express something, and you realize that you can give your own views. And if, of course, the person insists and say, well, I can only go on Monday, you can say, okay, you can go on Monday, but you will find that it's closed. And you give people solutions. And by giving solutions, you expel the stress from you and from the other person. So speak, but speak with solutions.
Okay. Yeah, I totally agree with you that we speak and we try to suggest solutions to them instead of focusing on our own emotions. But at first, it's better to help them release their own emotion.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So the next question I'm curious to ask is, how do you know that you are emotionally intelligent?
I think if you start asking yourself the question, it's because you are. Um, I saw a movie once where and the lady asks the doctor, "Am I a bad mother?" And he answers to her and he says, "Well, bad mothers never ask themselves that question." And it's the same thing with emotional intelligence. From the moment you realize that you're asking yourself the question, you are an emotional intelligent person. Whether you have the techniques to make it happen perfectly well is something else. But it's like in the movie, do you know this cartoon Ratatouille with the rats in restaurants from Pixar?
Ah,
Um,
I,
and the chef says everybody can cook.
yeah.
And in here, everybody can be emotionally intelligent from the moment you start respecting your audience and you turn yourself towards others. It's called customer oriented. And I will give you a counter example. Is like you've been to a museum or to vacation, holidays, and you meet your friends, and the first thing you do is telling them what you saw, but they don't care because they weren't there. So you explain that it was great, that you saw that painting, but they didn't see it. So for them, it has no interest. So being emotionally intelligent is first using rules and techniques, and I think you become emotionally intelligent from the moment you realize that people are always in conflict with you, people are not listening to what you do, you're a leader, and with charisma you can make people do things but you feel they're not happy doing it. And if you start asking yourself questions, I think you're an emotionally intelligent person. And many people are, they just don't know how.
I see. Mr. Cyril, in this case, you said that emotionally intelligent can be enhanced by rules and techniques. You said that? Yeah, because some people, they use the techniques so well, but actually that is not the one who they really are. So
Aha.
I'm afraid of those people because you're not sure about those. They just use techniques and rules in order to show us that they are great at emotional intelligence. So my question is, how can we enhance emotional intelligence from the root cause and make it become our own personality, not just techniques and rules? Yeah.
Two ways. The first is, as we say, fake it until you make it.
Yeah.
So of course, when you start, you might sound unnatural.
Mm.
The person is yelling at you, "I don't like you," and you're like, "Why are you saying this?" And of course, it will look completely silly. But the more you will make it, the better you will find yourself doing it, and you will be more natural. The second aspect is the preparation. If you come unprepared, you might get a lot more conflicts than usual. Or people, if you make a conference, for example, if you're a keynote speaker and you arrive on stage and you haven't really prepared and you know that your conference, your keynote is not very interesting and people are sleeping and you're like, "Please wake up," then you're creating conflicts. But if you prepare up front, then of course you will start with a catchy sentence, you will give rhythm, and people will be quite happy listening to you. And it's the same thing here. And I think another point is to find your own style. There are many ways of communicating, 12 actually, which are 12 different styles. You can, with four major ones, you can be a very analytical person. So the analytical person will be saying, "I've seen that you've said A, B, and C, and in consequence, these are the elements that will." So that's very analytical. You can be in the seduction, saying, "Oh, you're saying this? Why? Tell me more about it." Or you can be the strong person, very charismatic, and say, "Well, I hear you, and I know I will help you doing this." Or the caring person, "Oh, I see you're very upset. I understand you. It makes me feel sad that you're upset." And if you find your style, and there are many ways of finding them, then you will sound natural. Because the worst thing is to fake too much and to say, "Look, I will be the funny one and I'm not funny," or "I will be the caring one, but I'm not caring." And that is even worse. So you don't want to be counterproductive. What you want to do is anticipating, finding your own style, and then the emotional intelligence will be natural. We say emotional intelligence, find yourself within your own emotions. What emotions are driving you? And if you find that, then you're natural.
I see. So your suggestion is just fake it until you make it, until it becomes your habit. Then it turns to your personality. If I understand you correctly.
Because you will find that even if you're faking a bit, it works better than actually replying. So, and starting arguing sounds more natural. And even if you sound a bit fake within using emotional intelligence when you're speaking, you will create a lot more impact, and you will be heard and followed with stronger motivation.
I see. Yeah. I'm gonna take that point into account and really apply it into reality. So I think that let's come to the final question for our live stream session here. How can emotional intelligence help you with your communication skills, since our topic today is communicating with emotional intelligence? Yeah.
The first thing is to prepare. Your communication is always something which is very fragile. Will people listen to you? Will they understand you? Will they follow you? Because communicating is to create a call to action. Otherwise, you're just making noise. If you're communicating, it's because you want people to move from A to B. And therefore, you can use emotional intelligence while you're communicating, but then you're improvising again. So to me, it helps you communicating in the preparation. All the notions of emotional intelligence, which are empathy, customer-oriented, thinking about the others, self-awareness, all that, if you do so while preparing. If you say, tomorrow I have a meeting with my boss, and I've got my 80 pages of PowerPoint presentation, and let's see what that person is doing and how he or she will react, then you can be sure you will be in conflict. But if you reflect upfront, who's that person? Is he or she, does she or he have time? No. My boss has 5 minutes tomorrow, so 80 pages, I cannot do that. What is my boss expecting from me? In which mood is that person? Because he or she is my boss, but also a father or a mother, somebody with problems at home. So I anticipate that I will be impactful, short. Is that person expecting me to make decision? No, he or she is the one making decision. And you start preparing like this. And my communication, for example, when I say to people, you want to gain leadership, go to your boss. Never, ever with a problem. Like, oh, it's terrible, I don't know where to go. No, this is not something you can do, because people are expecting, it's called manage your boss. This is a theory that we invented. It's manage your boss. You cannot go and say, I'm lost. But you cannot also go and say, oh, we're going right. That's his or her decision. But you can say, look, we had difficulties finding where to go. We have two possible ways, left or right. My recommendation is right, but I wanted you to make the final decision. Then you will see in the eyes of your boss, somebody who's listening and thinking, oh, that person respects me because he's not making the decision. And that person has sufficient leadership to make a decision or to give recommendation. And he will say, look, I agree with your recommendation, you can go right. And everybody is happy. But that can only happen if I have prepared. And entering into a conflict with somebody without preparation, entering into a team building, speaking to your team or speaking on stage as a keynote speaker without preparation is terrible. But you can only prepare, and your communication will be very strong in terms of content, impact, style, if you think about your audience.
So
I never speak the. Oh, sorry.
yeah, just finish your point. Then I'm gonna
Okay.
summarize it. Yeah.
For example, I'm a marketeer. I've
Yeah.
always worked in marketing. And a marketeer, when you create a brand, you have to speak to many departments, to the accounting departments, to get cash, finance, to the supply chain people, to the R&D people making the products, to your management. I cannot speak the same way to those people. I have to adapt. It is a question of respect. If I go to the accounting department and say, "Oh, it's a great project," no, they want to know this project costs 100, but will gain us 200, and that's it. The supply chain wants the technical aspects, the management wants to be motivated and reassured on the financial. So you adapt your language. And emotional intelligence is about adapting.
Okay, so emotionally intelligence means that adapting to your audience. So let me summarize that point. You mean that whenever we come to our managers for any problems, please just prepare for a solution from your side first. Because actually managers don't really want to listen to problems. They have hundreds of problems that they need to solve already. Don't just disturb them with more problems, but we come with a solution, but you are the final person to make decision because I want to show respect on you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bringing people solution is a question of respect. I
Mm,
think the terms of respect is very, very important in emotional intelligence, is respecting others, respecting their views, respecting their issues, respecting their own life. And if you do so, it opens a lot of doors.
mm. How do you know that you are respected, Cyril?
Ha. There are two ways of knowing that you are respected. First, in the feedback of what people can give you, but that they can lie. But it's what happens when you're not there.
Yeah, right.
Because
Yeah.
you can be respected by fear, and people will do things when you're here, but once you've left, they will not follow your advice. So the best way of observing that is to look at the way people function when you're not here. And you will realize that respect is shown when people act the way you've motivated them to once you've left. If you're a team manager or a team leader within a company, you will find that your team, sometimes if you resign and go to another company, they will follow you. And that's something which is very important. If you don't go that far, is observing the way they function when you're not here and the way also they talk to you. Because if they've prepared, the way you do for your management is the way your teams should do with you. If you think that they come to you prepared, if you think that they come to you with recommendations, and if you feel that they are listening also to you, because what you do in emotional intelligence, you expect it also from the others. But if you do so, usually you get it. Respect is very mutual.
I see. So just observe the way you're legendary whenever you leave, then you can see that how people respect you. Right?
Yes.
Okay, I think that let's come to an end of our live stream section here. What is your final message that you would like to share with our viewers?
Everybody can be emotionally intelligent. It's a technique. If you don't have it, you can learn and fake it at the start. But if you want to be a great communicator and a great leader, this is something you have to integrate. And the results are amazing. And it's very motivating then to keep on doing it.
Yeah, some studies even said that emotional intelligence is even more important than intelligence like quotient
Yes.
more important than IQ nowadays. Yeah. So thank you so much, Mr. Cyril Jamelot, for joining EIY education session. I'm appreciated so much. And hello
Come on.
everyone. Yeah, come on. You understand our language. So everyone, we're gonna come to the next live stream section. Would be conducted tomorrow night at 8 a.m. with the topic how to build your executive presence. I believe that executive presence is one of the key factors to be promoted in multinational corporations nowadays. So we are looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. So once again, thank you so much, Mr. Cyril.
Thank you.
Yeah. Bye bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
My name is An.